The lobby smelled faintly of citrus and new carpet. Sleek floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, a reception desk shaped like a question mark. It was just past 8 a.m., early but already busy, consultants swiping in, assistants juggling calls, coffee cups steaming beside polished leather bags. He sat near the far wall, hoodie zipped to his neck, jeans torn at the knee, face unshaven. A backpack rested at his feet. No one spoke to him. Not at first. He didn't make a sound. Just sat there, looking around slowly like he didn't quite belong but hadn't decided to leave. Behind the reception desk, a woman in a navy blazer picked up the phone. Whispered something. Her eyes flicked to the man, then away. A guard appeared within minutes, tall, impatient, the kind that didn't ask questions. "Sir," he said, his tone already half-warning. "This is private property. You can't stay here." The man didn't answer. Just blinked once, then looked down at his hands. "I'm going to have to ask you to leave," the guard repeated, louder this time. A few people had begun watching, not stopping, not helping, just watching. A young woman waiting near the elevator shifted uncomfortably. A man with a briefcase shook his head and kept scrolling through his phone. Then the elevator dinged, and everything stopped. The elevator doors slid open with a soft chime. Out stepped a woman in a dark green coat, a laptop bag slung over one shoulder. She walked with quiet confidence, the kind that didn't need to announce itself. Her heels clicked lightly on the marble floor. The receptionist straightened. The guard glanced over, his posture shifting slightly. A few of the bystanders lowered their eyes. She was in her early 40s, hair pulled back, no jewelry, no flash. Just calm, clear focus. She saw him immediately, the man in the hoodie still sitting quietly by the wall. The guard standing in front of him, waiting. The tension thick in the air. She didn't ask questions. She just walked past the reception desk, through the half-circle of silence, and sat down next to him. Right next to him. The guard hesitated. "Ma'am, I don't think." She held up a hand. Not rude, not sharp. Just enough. "It's all right," she said. Then she turned to the man beside her. "You good?" He looked at her, slowly. There was no recognition in his eyes. Just confusion. She nodded once. "I'm Eva," she said quietly. "What's your name?" He blinked again, unsure if this was a joke. His voice cracked. "Marcus." "Okay," she said. "Marcus is with me." No one spoke. The receptionist's lips parted like she was about to say something, but nothing came out. The young woman near the elevator stared openly now. The man with the briefcase finally looked up from his phone. Because now everyone was wondering the same thing. Who was Eva? And why was she sitting beside a man security had just tried to remove? More importantly, why hadn't she asked who he was first? The security guard cleared his throat. "Ma'am, this man." Eva stood up slowly. Not rushed. Not defensive. Just calm. She turned toward him. "I know exactly who he is. And I know exactly who you are." The guard stiffened. "I was just following protocol." "No," she said gently. "You were following an assumption." Her eyes scanned the lobby. People were still pretending not to listen, but no one was moving anymore. The receptionist's fingers hovered above her keyboard, frozen mid-keystroke. Eva turned back to Marcus. "Come with me." He hesitated, then rose, grabbing his backpack. He moved stiffly, like someone used to being told to stay in place or move along. They walked past the guard, past the woman with the phone, past the man with the briefcase who actually stepped back to make space now. They stopped at the security desk. Eva glanced at the visitor log. "You didn't sign him in," she said. The receptionist flushed. "He wasn't a... He's a guest," Eva said flatly. "Sign him in, please." The pen hovered above the paper. "Last name?" Eva looked at Marcus. He answered quietly, Rowe. She spelled it out. "R-O-W-E." The receptionist finally wrote it down, hands slightly trembling. As they walked toward the elevators, the quiet buzz of the lobby started up again, but it wasn't the same. Something had shifted. There was discomfort now, not just silence. Reflection, maybe? Because people were starting to put the pieces together. Eva Banks, CEO, top floor. The one they'd only seen in company-wide emails and town halls. And she had just walked in, sat beside the man they'd been trying to push out and called him a guest. The elevator ride was silent. Marcus stood with his hands in his pockets, shoulders slightly hunched. Eva didn't look at him, didn't press. She just stood beside him, facing forward, giving him space. The elevator stopped at the 24th floor, executive level. Frosted glass doors, quiet carpet, the smell of espresso and new furniture. Marcus stepped out slowly, unsure. Everything looked too polished, too expensive. He didn't belong here. He knew that. Or thought he did. Eva walked ahead, then paused and looked back. "This way." He followed. They entered a corner office. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A long table. Minimalist furniture. Nothing flashy, just precise. Intentional. Eva gestured to a chair. "Sit wherever." Marcus hesitated, then picked the seat nearest the door. The one easiest to leave from. Eva sat across from him, pulled out her phone, and typed something quickly. Then she looked up. "Coffee?" "Water." He shook his head. She nodded. All right. So here's the thing, Marcus. I know your name because you used to work here. He blinked. Yeah. Years ago. In shipping. Warehouse team. 2012 to 2017. Then you left. No one knew why. You didn't take your exit interview. He shifted in his seat. Didn't seem like anyone would care. Eva leaned back slightly. I would have cared. But I wasn't CEO yet. Marcus didn't respond. Just looked down at the floor. Eva let the silence hang. Then she said, why are you here today? His voice was quiet. I wasn't trying to make a scene. I saw the article. About you. About how things changed. Thought maybe someone like me could get a second chance now. He swallowed. I didn't know how else to ask. Eva didn't answer right away. She just nodded slowly like she understood more than she was letting on. Eva tapped her fingers lightly on the table. You came all the way here without an appointment. No resume. No call ahead. Marcus shrugged. Didn't think I'd get through if I tried the normal way? You're probably right, she said. He looked up, surprised. Eva leaned forward. Because the system still filters people out before they're seen. Based on how they dress. How they talk. Where they sit in a lobby. Marcus held her gaze for the first time. I didn't come to talk about that. Maybe not. But it happened. She stood and walked to the cabinet in the corner, pulled out a small binder. We do hirebacks, Marcus. Quietly. For former employees with a solid record. You were never written up. Not once. That's rare. He blinked. I didn't know that mattered. It does. To me. She placed the binder in front of him. Look through it. These are open positions. Most are internal, warehouse, logistics. Some support roles. If anything makes sense, we'll schedule a meeting. Marcus didn't reach for it right away. Is this for real? He asked. Eva didn't smile. Didn't soften. It's real, she said. But I need to know something. He waited. Are you ready to show up even if half the people here still don't know how to see you? Marcus nodded slowly. I've been showing up all my life. Just never had the door open this wide before. Eva sat back down. Then let's talk about what happens next. They went over the binder together. Marcus flipped the pages carefully, his fingers rough against the smooth paper. He paused at a listing, inventory control assistant. Would I need a degree for this? He asked. No, Eva said. Just someone who's detail-oriented, steady, and not afraid to speak up if something doesn't look right. He nodded. I used to track shipments. Kept notes when things didn't add up. Eva glanced at him. We've had errors in that role lately. People rushing, not double-checking. It's costing us. I don't rush, he said. Not proud. Just stating a fact. I know, Eva replied. That's why this might fit. He looked up again. You really read my file? I don't put names on plaques if I haven't. They were quiet for a moment. Marcus closed the binder and sat back. If this works out, I'd be back in the same building that didn't want me sitting in the lobby. Eva nodded. That's true. He looked down, then back at her. I want to. But not just to prove something. You don't have to prove anything, she said. But I do want to be seen, he added. You were, Eva said. That's why we're sitting here. Marcus exhaled like something inside him had been carrying weight for a long time. All right, he said. Let's see what happens. Eva stood and extended her hand. Welcome back. The next morning, Marcus arrived early. Not because anyone told him to. Just because he didn't want to be late. He wore the same hoodie. Washed now. His jeans still faded but clean. Hair combed back. Eyes focused. He stood in front of the glass doors at 7:42 a.m. waiting for them to unlock. Inside, a young man in a blazer sipped coffee behind the reception desk. Same one from the day before. He didn't recognize Marcus at first. Then he did. Their eyes met. The man straightened, hesitated, then quickly buzzed the door open. Marcus stepped in without a word. Didn't gloat. Didn't flinch. The receptionist nodded. Good morning. Marcus nodded back. Morning. Eva had told him where to go. HR would finalize things. Then a quick tour. A badge. A desk. But for now he just stood in that same lobby. The same spot where he'd been invisible. Dismissed. This time people still looked at him. But now they were wondering something different. Who is he? What changed? Marcus didn't need them to know everything. Just that he wasn't going anywhere. The HR office was tucked in a quiet corner of the third floor. Marcus followed the signs, moving past teams already deep in morning meetings. No one stopped him. A few people looked up. A couple nodded. Inside, a woman named Talia greeted him. Late 30s, sharp-eyed, friendly without being fake. Marcus Rowe, she said, glancing at the paper in her hand. Welcome back. Thanks, he said. It still sounded strange, being welcomed. She handed him a folder. Your ID badge will be ready by noon. We've set you up with temporary access in the meantime. First shift starts tomorrow, but you're on orientation today. Building tour, system walkthrough, safety protocol, the works. He nodded. Talia looked at him for a moment. You've been here before? Long time ago. She smiled gently. Well, it's not the same place anymore. Marcus didn't answer. She stood. Come on, I'll walk you through. They moved through the corridors, offices, break rooms, a new wing under renovation. As they turned a corner, they passed two men in button-down shirts chatting near a vending machine. One of them paused mid-sentence when he saw Marcus. The same one who'd watched him from the lobby yesterday. The one with the phone? Their eyes met. Recognition flickered. Marcus didn't stop. Didn't nod. Just kept walking. And the man looked away. The warehouse floor smelled like cardboard and machine oil. Forklifts beeped in the distance and conveyor belts hummed with a quiet rhythm. It was familiar. Too familiar. Talia walked him through the inventory zones, pointing out the new tracking system, the changes since his last time here. Marcus listened, nodded, took it in. When they reached the back corner, she stopped. This is where you'll be working. Inventory control team. That's the supervisor's desk. You'll meet Ben in a bit. The space was simple. A workstation, a monitor, clipboard rack, scanner guns. Nothing fancy, but clean. Organized. Marcus stepped closer. Touched the edge of the desk. I used to unload pallets over there, he said quietly, motioning to the far bay. Talia followed his gaze. We upgraded the flooring last year. People kept slipping near the dock. Marcus nodded. Yeah, I did once. She looked at him. I'm guessing no one filed it. He gave a small smile. Didn't seem worth the trouble? Talia didn't push further. She handed him a tablet. This has your training materials. Log in when you're ready. I'll leave you to it for a bit. She walked off, her heels tapping softly against the concrete. Marcus stood alone in the space. The same walls, new lights, new systems, but the air still held a trace of the old place. The version that let people disappear unless they shouted. And he'd never been one to shout. Now he didn't need to. By late morning, Marcus had finished the digital training modules. Safety videos, inventory protocol, reporting tools. He moved slowly but with purpose, making notes as he went. Ben, the shift supervisor, arrived just before lunch. Mid-40s, straightforward demeanor, work shirt with his name stitched in faded red. He gave Marcus a quick once-over, then extended a hand. Heard you rejoining us. Welcome. Marcus shook it. Thanks. Ben glanced at the tablet. You finished already? Yeah. I worked with the old system before. Just had to adjust to the new layout. Ben raised an eyebrow. Most folks take a day and a half. Marcus shrugged. I remember details. Ben nodded, almost impressed. We need someone like that. He walked Marcus through the live side of the floor. Introduced him to two team members, Luis and Janet, who gave polite, measured nods. Not unfriendly. Just uncertain. By the time they returned to the workstation, Ben leaned against the desk. You worked here before, right? He asked casually. Yeah. Why'd you leave? Marcus paused. Looked down at the floor. No one noticed when I was here, he said. And I didn't have the words to explain why that mattered. Ben didn't reply right away. Just nodded slowly. Well, he said, pushing off the desk, let's make sure this time's different. Marcus didn't smile. But he didn't look away either. Lunch was in the break room. Small space, a couple of vending machines, mismatched chairs, the faint scent of microwaved noodles hanging in the air. Marcus sat at the edge of the room, quiet, eating a sandwich he'd packed from home. Across the table, Luis and Janet chatted about shift rotations, half watching him between sentences. He didn't mind. He wasn't trying to fit in fast. Just to be steady. Familiar faces took time to become familiar people. Halfway through his sandwich, the door opened. The man from the lobby walked in, blazer off now, sleeves rolled up, holding a soda. Marcus recognized him instantly. The same guy who had looked at him like he was a problem just yesterday. Their eyes met. This time, the man didn't look away. He hesitated, then walked over slowly. Hey, he said, setting his soda down. I saw you in the lobby yesterday. Marcus nodded once. I didn't say anything. I should have. Marcus didn't respond. Just looked at him, letting the pause stretch. The man shifted, awkward now. I didn't know who you were. Marcus swallowed his last bite. Most people don't. The man opened his mouth, then closed it again. Finally, he said, well, glad you're here. He walked away without waiting for a response. Marcus sat back in his chair, the moment sitting heavier than the food. He didn't need an apology. But he noticed who stayed quiet. Who didn't? That afternoon, Marcus shadowed Ben through the rest of the shift. They checked inventory discrepancies, scanned shipments, flagged a mislabeled pallet. Marcus was quick, efficient. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it was clear he knew what he was doing. Ben started deferring to him more and more. At one point, near the end of the shift, Ben handed him a sheet of printed logs. Caught this error yesterday. 2 boxes short, but nobody filed it. You see anything? Marcus studied the sheet. This driver's always late. Probably rush loading. Happened before. Ben nodded. You remember that? Marcus tapped the corner of the page. Twice, 2016. We logged it. It was ignored. Ben let out a low whistle. You got a memory like a vault. Marcus didn't reply. He didn't need to. By 4 p.m., most of the shift was winding down. Janet gave him a quick "see you tomorrow" on her way out. Luis gave a nod that felt just a little less guarded than before. Marcus stayed back a few minutes longer, tidying his workstation. As he was logging out of the tablet, he heard footsteps behind him. Eva. No announcement. No team in tow. Just her, holding a coffee, same calm as always. You alright? She asked. Marcus nodded. Yeah. How'd it feel? He paused. Thought about it. Familiar, he said. But different now. Eva watched him. You made it different. He didn't answer, but his shoulders dropped slightly like he'd finally exhaled. She glanced at the clean desk, the scanned reports, the small order he'd already brought to the team. You're already making people rethink how they look at this place, she said. Marcus looked at her, steady. Good, he said. Because I never stopped looking. By the end of the week, Marcus had slipped into the rhythm. People greeted him now, not warmly, not yet, but with respect. Luis asked his opinion on shipment timing. Janet started copying him on internal notes. Even the floor manager, who rarely spoke to new hires, had asked if he could review the sorting flow. He wasn't just accepted. He was being listened to. On Friday afternoon, the company held a casual all-hands meeting in the main atrium, quarterly updates, department highlights, nothing too formal. Marcus didn't plan to go. He wasn't required to. But Ben nudged him. You should be there. Just to see it. So he went. He stood near the back wall, out of the way. Blazer guy from the lobby was up front this time, nodding earnestly during a slideshow on quarterly growth. Then Eva stepped up to the mic. She kept it short. Company growth. New hires. Upcoming goals. Then she paused. One more thing, she said, glancing toward the back. Some of you may have seen someone new this week, or rather, someone returning. Marcus Rowe rejoined our team on Monday. Heads turned. I scanned the crowd. Eva kept her tone steady. He didn't walk through the front doors with a title. And he didn't need to. A few people started to realize who she was talking about. She looked toward him, not as a gesture, not to call attention, just enough to say, I see you. Marcus reminds us that talent isn't always loud. And that sometimes the person we overlook is the one holding the answers we didn't know we needed. Silence. Not dramatic. Just real. And then soft applause. Not explosive. But honest. Marcus didn't move. Didn't wave. He just stood there. Like he'd always belonged. After the meeting, people lingered in small groups, chatting, sipping coffee from branded cups. A few glanced at Marcus, then quickly looked away. But some walked over. Luis clapped him on the shoulder. Didn't know you had a fan upstairs? Marcus just shrugged. Didn't come here for that. Janet smiled. Still. Feels good, right? He didn't answer. A woman from finance, someone he'd never met, approached cautiously. Hey. I was in the lobby that day, she said. When security, she trailed off, embarrassed. He looked at her. Waited. I didn't say anything, she admitted. I should've. I didn't know who you were. Marcus's voice was quiet. That's the point. She nodded, guilt in her expression. I'm sorry. He gave a slow nod. Appreciate that. Another man joined, someone from HR. Then a junior analyst who'd seen the whole thing. They all hovered, awkward but sincere. Marcus didn't hold court. Didn't turn it into a moment. He just listened. Their discomfort wasn't his problem to fix. But he let them speak. Let them sit with it. Because some lessons don't need loud answers. Just a place to land. The next week passed quietly. Marcus kept showing up early. Kept doing the work. He didn't ask for recognition, didn't seek praise. But slowly, the temperature shifted. People spoke to him more easily. Not from curiosity, from respect. One morning, the same security guard from his first day nodded at him as he walked in. Morning, Mr. Rowe. Marcus paused. Just a moment. Morning, he replied. No extra words. No tension. Just two people acknowledging each other. Upstairs, Eva watched it all from a glass office window. She didn't step in. Didn't make speeches. The lesson had already been delivered. Not by her title. By the way Marcus moved through the space. Unshaken. Quiet. Present. And by the way the space started moving with him. Later that month, when a new hire joined the warehouse team, a kid fresh out of community college, nervous, unsure, he was placed under Marcus's guidance. The kid watched him closely, tried to keep up. One day he asked, how'd you end up here? Marcus looked at him, expression calm. I sat down, he said. And didn't move until someone saw me. The kid blinked, unsure what that meant. But he'd remember it. Because sometimes the moment that changes everything doesn't shout. It just waits for someone strong enough to hold the silence. And make it mean something.